Yeah, I'd have to go through into Skype and have a look what he is in there. Now, there was a young guy who ended up, his parents worked for the Russian embassy in Laos, and he ended up living in Laos for a while. I don't know if you ever knew him, but oh well, we'll work it out. I'll go through all my old photos and see where you appear the first time, because wherever I went, I took lots of photos, so we're bound to pick it up that way and work out where the first meeting was. I'm sort of curious. I've forgotten. I met quite a few hams. Roman was one of them. He was an interesting one. He took us to the Moscow Beer Festival. I'll never forget the Moscow Beer Festival. Yeah, I'll have a look at the photos. I have a group photo from the QSL Bureau. I've got a feeling you may have been in there. But it's sort of weird when you go over there, Danny, because I remember that. We sort of showed up with this young guy at the QSL Bureau, the Central Radio Club, as they knew it. And there was a couple of the sort of coordinators there, and within half an hour they had a table covered with all sorts of Russian food and vodka and everything else, and we were busy eating and drinking. So, and that was a surprise visit. So you can imagine what an organised visit would have been like there. Danny, go ahead.
Ha! He is busy, it seems. He mute his headphones.
Oh, yeah, he could be on a phone call or something. Or
Maybe.
all right. And yeah, I was thinking that the other day. Where was it the first time? And I think I know. Was it at Kitay Town Friday night session? I think that might have been where it was.
I see. I know in Sergey from the QSL Bureau, is it fat body guy or not?
Yeah, there was a few. I know that I showed the photos to the young guy on another occasion when I was in Moscow.
Young guy.
And he says, "Oh, that one died." So there was some silent keys in the photos. But I'll dig up those photos. They're out about 2007 or 2006 or something.
Okay.
So I'll check that out.
Okay, Danny's back.
Yeah, I was saying there, Danny, that I went to the Central Radio Club in Moscow in about 2006 or 7. And it was a surprise visit because this young guy that, I'm not sure how I met him, but anyway, he took me along there and sort of introduced me to all the people. There was like a DXs walked in the door, and within half an hour they had a table covered in food and drinks and things and partying. So they didn't muck around. So you could imagine what it would have been like if it was an organised visit. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about the little goof up there. I accidentally tapped my mute speaker, I guess. That's why I wasn't hearing anything. I just looked down on my RT. Oh, what is that red X doing there? So sorry I missed what you were saying, Tony. Anyway, back to that question. Sorry to make you repeat it again. So do you get to travel outside of your region and to other parts of the world, Tony, or?
No, no any incidents right here. So we just discuss it about our meetings in Moscow, and nothing else. And Bob tried to resend or give you explanation about what we are talking about. So so again, I have some English, so my mistakes in my English speech. Okay, I will correct that.
Mistakes? I don't know. I didn't hear any mistakes. Did
Huh?
you, Bob? Did somebody point out a mistake he made? Sounds good to me.
Oh, that's great.
I usually point them out, and he doesn't like that. So far today, I've only found one, so he's doing well. Yeah, I should add here, Denny. I know the Russian language, and that sort of assists in speaking to the Russian stations. And out of interest, it came in handy in the early '90s when the MIR space station was circling around, and I was able to contact them on many passes, sort of. Because I knew the language, and call them in Russian as they go over Australia, because there's very little QRM in Australia chasing them, and they come straight back to you even from a mobile situation on 2 meters. Go ahead.
Ah, very cool. Well, I imagine you probably know some other languages too. What a neat experience I had.
Disconnected.
Ой, бля. Так. Сейчас.
Disconnected. Connected.
Ой. Ой.
He told me at one of our get-togethers that they were planning on coming to St. Paul, Minnesota to visit their daughter. He and his wife would fly in and spend some time with her. She had a job there in the Twin Cities, and she had a nice house with a nice apartment like in the basement. So anyway, they came to visit. I was running phone patches for them in the meantime while they were talking to their daughter using the phone patches back in the day. That was a while ago. They got here, and the gentleman we were talking to, the mother of the daughter they came to visit, she got cancer and got really sick.
Oh,
She got so sick they couldn't fly
cancer.
home again, and basically they didn't give her a whole lot of time to live. And so they ended up moving in and settling in with their daughter. They made it the downstairs apartment theirs. And I remember one Easter they invited my wife and I and our 3 children to come visit them. And they were just so gracious and showed us a photo album of their place. In fact, they were home back in New Zealand, and stayed here for many months until she finally passed away. And after the funeral and after getting settled a little bit, the gentleman from New Zealand came to our home, and we had a little barbecue and a nice visit with him, and kind of gave him a send-off to go back to New Zealand finally, and he had to shop around for a new place. So it was very sad, but at the same time very experience, and all came about because of ham radio. So it sure does a lot to bring people together from around the world, that's for sure. Over to you, Tony. KD5DLJ in the group.
Okay, nice conversation this Friday evening. Wow, 10:38 p.m. at the moment. So, and previously, when I spoke to Bob, I told him that I'm gonna watch the movie, which was made in US in 1999, as I remember, named by Sleepy Hollow, with Johnny Depp as a main actor. So after our chat, I decided to call you to drop some words with you and go back to watch the movie and do in parallel home business, RC3C.
Well, great. Well, we'll let you get back to your movie there then. Sure was good to have you come up to the other channel and say hello and give me a call. And I feel like I've got some new great friendships building here in the IRN. And I sure hope a lot of other people will take the time to move around and visit some of the other channels. Like Bob did, he came up to check out Digicom Cafe. He had seen it there before, but had never really visited, or maybe when he did, there wasn't a lot of activity. But he heard our audio file this morning that I shared from the AR Newsline. They did a little story on the Digicom Cafe and the Guild, and so he took some time to pop in and visit and say hello. So thank you for that, Bob, and really do look forward to visiting with you guys more often in the future here.
User
Meanwhile,
disconnected from your channel.
it seems to be getting a little bit cloudier here. It's supposed to go up to 110 degrees today. They don't advise much activity outdoors. It's so hot. And last night we had this awful thunderstorm came through.
Oh God.
Very strong winds, and it ended up killing many people on Table Rock Lake here in Branson.
Mm-hmm.
The last toll was 17 people, including children, were drowned in this duck boat, tour boat that capsized or sank on the lake during the storm. They were caught unaware, unprepared, and a lot of people were taking videos of it out the restaurant window and stuff on the Branson Bell paddle boat. And you could just see that they were having a real time trying to stay afloat, and they got lower and lower into the water and finally sank. Well, the divers rescued all the other people and recovered all the bodies today. So out of 31, 17 of them perished. So it was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the news. It'll be on national news tonight too, and all over Facebook, and very, very sad. Anyway, we'll say 7-3. You guys have a great afternoon, evening, and we'll do this again soon. Over to you, Bob. VK2RG, KD5DLJ in the group.
Yeah, Roger, KD5DLJ, C3C, VK2RG, Portable Rome. Yeah, I haven't looked at the news yet. We've been sort of busy here and went out and had dinner, and I'll have a look at the Australian Broadcasting Commission news and see what they have to say. They usually cover important events like that, lots of international events, not too many local, sort of localised stories. You know, they'll have national stories, but they won't have localised stories on them. And, okay. All right, we'll continue the discussion another time. And you go and enjoy your movie there, Tony. And we'll have words again as well there, Denny. I might pop up and sit on one of your other channels up there. Before you run away, I do have a question. The stars. What are the green stars, the red stars, and the blue stars? What are all these stars meaning on this I.R.N? Go ahead.
The stars, what do they mean? Good question. I think they indicate whether it's a VoIP only channel or an RF link channel.
Ah,
I guess I really don't know for sure. Might have to jump up to the Guild QSO channel, or maybe up to the Welcome channel. Ask Bob, Uncle Bob, in the Welcome channel, or maybe John, some of the other admins of the TeamSpeak, or maybe Gareth, Gareth. He's the guy behind the TeamSpeak setup here, the server. Maybe those guys could help, or maybe on their website too. I guess I just never really paid much attention to it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I've spoken a few times with Bob. He's from Springfield, Massachusetts, and that's my official location for the FCC for my AC1CZ call sign. So we have something in common. I'm sure I'm going to knock on his door one day when I'm visiting over there. And I was quite surprised when I found a ham that's in Springfield and happens to be on here as well. I thought, oh, this is odd. And he was quite surprised we even had the same name. So I'm a local ham to them. All right, mate. All the very best. Cheers, Tony. Cheers, Danny. And we'll chat soon. VK2RG will be off and clear.
Okay, from RC3C, thanks for chatting, appreciate it much. Once again, Denny, I added you as a buddy here on the TeamSpeak station list. So, of course, if you will join the channel, it will sound the buddy join it. So, I will be around, I believe, or I hope. Okay, thank you, have a nice day, and for us with Bob, have a nice evening, and thanks for chatting, and see you around, buddies. Thank you.
73 guys. KD5DLJ. We'll do it again.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, see ya.
See you soon.